It's been 10 years since an insurgency began in northeast Nigeria. This has led to an unprecedented humanitarian situation in the region, with 1.8 million Nigerians currently displaced across Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states. According to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, more than 7.1 million people rely on humanitarian assistance to survive in the region. My guest is the country representative of the United Nations High Commissioner. Hello there, welcome to DatelineAbuja. I'm Gloria Umezuki. The Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Agency is advising residents of Kubwa, Gwagwa Karimo, Kuje and Gwagwalada about possible flooding in their area. The Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency named the Federal Capital Territory and 15 states as places with high risk of flood next month. Well, this week's FCT in Focus will be giving an update on the flood situation in the nation's capital. But first, what are the stories that made headlines within the week in the nation's capital?
Following a court order, the leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, left Nigeria for medical treatment in India on Monday in the company of his wife and some security operatives. But in a dramatic turn, the Sheikh returned to the country after he insisted that he was not comfortable with the kind of treatment he was subjected to at the Indian hospital. Upon his arrival at the Abuja airport on Friday, he was immediately taken into custody by security operatives. The federal government has called on Nigerians to disregard the statement by the leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, that he was being held in circumstance worse than he was in Nigeria. In a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Information and Culture, Deaconess Grace Gekwe, the federal government is insisting that the Sheikh was making unreasonable requests. President Muhammadu Buhari has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to stop providing foreign exchange for food importation. This is contained in a statement signed by the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to the President, Malam Garba Shehu. The statement further explains that the directive is to ensure the steady improvement in agricultural production and attainment of full food security. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party and former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has filed his final written address to the Presidential Election Tribunal. In a 43-page address, his lead counsel, Dr. Levi Uzuku, insists that President Muhammadu Buhari was not qualified to have contested the February 23rd election and as such should be disqualified by the tribunal. President Muhammadu Buhari has assented to an act which changes the name of the Nigerian Prison Service to Nigeria Correctional Service. Senior Special Assistant on National Assembly Matters Senator Etanang told State House correspondents that the Nigeria Correctional Service, which is made up of two faculties, the custodial and non-custodial service, will also address the challenge of overcrowding in the nation's prisons. He added that the president also assented to a bill changing the name of the Federal University of Agriculture, Makudi, to Joseph Taka University of Agriculture, Benue State.
The Correctional Services Act repeals the Nigeria Prison Service, changes the name of Nigeria Prison Service to Nigeria Correctional Service. Then the prison service is to, while you are there, identify causes why the person may have committed the offense and take steps at reformation.
President Muhammadu Buhari has asked the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission to conclude its investigations and prosecute the chairman of the Special Investigation Panel for the Recovery of Public Property, Chief Okoye Bonobla. The Solicitor General of the Federation, Mr. Dayo Akpata, confirmed this in a statement from the Ministry of Justice. The President of the Senate, Senator Ahmed Lawan, is insisting that the 9th National Assembly is prepared to pass the 2020 budget by December 2019. He said this at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport shortly after his return from the pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia.
We need to reverse the undesirable trend of the current budget cycle in Nigeria. We need to work for a budget that will be passed by the National Assembly by December.
The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating the state of the nation's ports held a public hearing where stakeholders identified multiple charges, inadequate security and lack of synergy among relevant agencies as challenges responsible for slow performance of Nigerian ports.
You all must be involved to help and provide solutions to what has not only become a dangerous reality of everyday life in the commercial capital city of Lagos, but has also become a national embarrassment.
The National Youth Service Corps is threatening to jail any fake Corps members. The Director General of the scheme, Brigadier General Shoaibu Ibrahim, told a media parley that the Corps would blacklist any Corps-producing institution that engages in presentation of unqualified persons for mobilization into the scheme.
The deployment of ICT solutions in the NYSC mobilization process and existing collaboration with WIAC and JAM in this regard have enhanced the integrity of the process and reduced the incidences of fake Corps members. We have discovered in recent times that unscrupulous individuals now present fake results, sourced mostly from foreign institutions, particularly in West Africa, for mobilization into the scheme. Consequently, we convened an interactive meeting with registrars of foreign institutions to address this and other issues bordering on the integrity of the mobilization process. Let me reiterate our warning that any person who presents fake certificates in any attempt to get mobilized for service will be handed over to the security agencies for prosecution. Since inception, 4,644,804 Nigerians have participated in the scheme.
Welcome back. At least 3 persons have been confirmed dead in the flood that followed heavy rainfall in the nation's capital. The rain has led to the destruction of buildings and public utilities. As rains continue unabated, FCT in Focus gives you an update on the flood situation in Abuja. Take a listen. It was an early morning rain in the nation's capital as residents go about their daily business. As the heavens give up its content, the earth bears the consequences. Roads and streets were flooded, leading to traffic gridlock, while buildings gave way following pressure from the flood. The Federal Capital Territory is one of the areas under focus ahead of another heavy rainfall which is expected next month.
The upper catchment of the Niger Basin made up of 9 countries. The flood coming from these countries are expected to arrive in Nigeria in the next 1 month. That is when river flooding will really be, take its toll if actions are not taken. River flooding as well as coastal flooding are expected to come into play as the nation approaches the peak of rainy season. Therefore, states and local governments should endeavor to remove structures built within the floodplains, clear blocked drainages, covers, and waterways. We owe ourselves the duty to clean wherever we are. We expect states to have proper building plans. Don't allocate land to people to build within flood-prone areas or flood channels.
The FCT Emergency Management Agency has already issued a flood alert for residents of Kubwa, Gwagwa Karimo, Kuje and Gwagwalada of a possible flooding of these areas. The agency describes the situation as urban flooding.
The flooding in the FCT has to do with urban flooding. And the urban flooding is caused by the intensity of rainfall and thereby also not really having the outflow to take the water away. So, and also there are people who are building to block the waterways and the water channels. Also, we also have problems of those who are also converting the flood-prone area to to change the land use to a private building. So these are the major cause of the flooding in the FCT at the moment. Response is a relative term. To some people, is different, to others is also different. Yeah, but the problem we are having is that people don't call for a response immediately it happens until when they are overwhelmed. And by the time the response the team come to rescue, you find out that a lot of accusation goes around. But our response time in the FCT at the moment is 3 minutes wherever we are. If you can call us on time, and we'll be there immediately, maximum 5 minutes. And we are urging the public to make good use of the 112 emergency number so that they can get rapid response. If you go on to dial a long number, the network will not even allow you to do that. So if you do that, we'll be able to get there on time and carry out the response.
The worst hit areas from the last flooding in the nation's capital are Karu, Lokogoma and Galadimawa districts. At least 3 persons have been confirmed dead in the flood.
I was driving from Jabi. I want to enter mechanic workshop there. So I saw 2 guys standing on top of the water. I was like, what happened? They say they want to drive and pass to the other side, the road that links to Jabi. So, and the water started keeping going up when the water covered their cars. So they now had the opportunity to stand on top of one stone. So, and all the effort of the people calling NEMA to come and rescue them was in vain. So I entered my car on my radio. I had an ordinary Ahmed that's called NEMA to come and rescue them.
Look at this road. This road is, as I said to you, they tied it halfway to that junction and they left everything. So the erosion is really disturbing the people. And the road is bad. It is a sign of incompetence. You know, last year, I think a man and his 3 kids died on this road. And I'm aware now that the flood that happened here claimed about 4 lives. If we are to save this country, the people, those that are really in power, those who have the means of doing it, they have the budget, taxpayers' money. They should use the money to develop the country for the people.
Last week, when I was coming from Game Village, there was heavy rain, and something like this happened. But I believe by this time now, I believe our government should have done something.
It is that bad. Even right now, the road is divided. You have to walk across. Cars can't pass through. It is that bad right now. The issue of trashing is not true, but the fact that people build their houses on waterways is actually the correct thing. Because where the water is supposed to flow, the channel has been blocked by houses. So that's what's actually causing the drainage.
Before now, officials of the Department of Development Control demolished some buildings that were erected on the waterways in some of the affected districts. Over 100 buildings were marked for the exercise.
When this latest incident happened of that 17-year-old boy that died, when we went again, we discovered that even those places where they had not built on before, that we even asked them to move away, they had encroached into there was a house that was sitting right smack in the middle of the flood path. So when the flood is coming, the flood goes partway from the house and closes after the house. To the extent that we're not asking questions, how does this person come out of his house? Does he use a boat? So we discovered so much infringement on the developing plan. And we got there, we saw that those houses that we had marked and the structures that we had marked in 2017 for them to move away because we were going to demolish, some of them painted over that marking, some of them left it and still went beyond where they shouldn't have built. So the permanent secretary read that riot act to them, move away within 2 weeks. We are going to demolish. And that is what the development control started. You even confirmed it that you were part of the team on the first day. For your information, 122 houses are going to go for us to be able to start the infrastructure we need to put in place. So when we discovered that these things had to be done, and we started. The land is so porous with water. we discovered that our heavy machines were sinking. So we decided that, okay, we will wait. Let the rain subside a little. When the ground is a little bit harder, we will continue.
This perhaps is the right time for the FCT administration to put the ecological fund to good use and avert impending danger.